Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Today we're going to go over how we at the studio show camera moves. Now each studio is different, so you're going to have to ask what their specification is, but this is kind of to help people who take storyboard tests for us. So let's go through that. The first thing that we like for you to do on your camera moves is we like you to mark them in red. It makes us easier to see it. It also clarifies what you're doing. Let's go over some of the possible camera moves you can do for us. Fade in and fade out. This happens at the very beginning or the end of most sequences. Basically, this would all be dark, and then this would all be light, and then this would all be light, and this would all be dark. And or you can have a fade in and fade out. This kind of shows a passing of time, or this kind of shows even a little bit of time passing here. Cuts are instantly between two scenes. Basically, we have scene 4 and scene 5, and then we cut in between them. So scene 4 happens first, and then instantly after it, scene 5 happens. There's two ways that we like to see it: a cut with a circle or a black triangle. It just helps clarify that there's a cut there. Cross dissolve shows the passing of time. We like to show a passing of time by having either a big black red X and then X dissolve, or you can do two red X's and then an X dissolve. Or in a panel, you can take up the whole panel with red X's, but make sure you put in the X dissolve. In your truck ins or truck outs, make sure that you try to keep it within 4 fields that you truck in and truck out for. We have a central truck in going from the outside in. We have a lower left truck in going from the bigger field to the 5 field. We have a mid-half truck in. We have a truck out here where we're going from 7 fields to 12 field. We have a upper right-hand corner going from 6 field to 12 field. This looks almost like a shift truck out, if you will, where we have the camera starts here and then shifts over a little bit to truck out. Make sure you have enough art room on your panel. Let's also talk about more tricky truck-ins. We have a twist truck-in, which we see the arrows are twisted into point of interest. We have a twist-out truck-in, where we see the arrows are pointing out as they twist out. We have a bounce truck-in, which we see kind of the camera kind of bounces as a more documentary kind of a truck in there. Let's talk about diagonal pans. A pan is basically going like a panoramic kind of view of a subject matter. This actually is a diagonal pan where we see we're about 9 field here going over to another 9 field diagonally. You'll notice that the arrows are on the outside here, not on the inside, covering up the art, and it's labeled clearly. Let's talk about some more kind of pans. These are horizontal pans. It's important to write the start and the stop of them on your pan. And let's say that you don't fill the whole panel on the very last of it. Make sure you just write diagonal lines to make up the mess of it. But it's important to show the start and stop of a pan on your camera move. It can be a shorter pan where you also have shorten your stop and start. I actually technically like to do a red arrow right along the scene border, and I'll show you that in the vertical pan up here. On this kind of pan where we're going from right to left, I prefer to keep the pan in the same motion. So on this one, what we have is we have the camera being shifted to the left, but then in the truck-in, it feels like you're almost going back to the original subject. I don't really care for that, so you're going here and then you're kind of looping back into it. So try to avoid this kind of truck-in. This one's a little bit better because it tends to go with the motion. So you're starting here, you're doing a pan, and then you're coming to here where your motion is continually moving the direction of the camera. With this one, it gets the audience a little bit dizzy, so try to avoid this one. On a vertical pan, we start off in this field and we vertically pan up. I like to do the red arrows just to clarify where we're starting and where we're going to. Again, start and stop on boards helps us know where to start and stop, or where you tend to start and stop the camera move. Another vertical pan or shift. A shift is just a slight movement, not a complete out of field. So you'll see he starts here and then he just shifts the camera up vertically to show the action there. And again, I usually like to do the red arrows to make that a little more clear. A shift to the right here, and you see it, this dotted line starts with the original field size, and then it just shifts off to the right, and the camera kind of shows right here as far as it goes. A shift diagonal, where you'll see the arrows are on the outside here to show that the camera move, but also not get in the way of the art again. And a shift is just a slight movement of the camera movement, in contrast to a full field size move, which would be more of a pan. A zip pan is used for quick action if we want to show a character noticing something quick or something going by. I tend to like to really show the start and stop of them. Technically, you just need an arrow with a pan. Some people like to do the wiggly lines, but technically you just need the start, stop, and then an arrow, and then a zip pan, clarifying it. Here's another way to do it. You do your start, and you show which way you're going, and you do where you stop, so the cameraman kind of knows where your intention on that action is. Wipes are used for good transitions to go from A to B, and our time has passed. You see a lot of them like in 70s films. They're also kind of bringing them back, with the new films as well. A wipe is basically where in this section we have the old scene, scene A, and in this section we have scene B, and so something has been wiped across the screen to show the transition there. So we have the circle showing the wipe and then the camera, and you'd have your first scene A here, and your scene B here. Same here. You show your wipe, scene A here, and then scene B here. Scene A here, scene B here. Very very similar. A vertical wipe, scene A, scene B. A wipe can also be done with an object, where we have our scene A here, and then our scene B. As the knife goes by, it does a transition to get us to the second location or stage. Or you can do it with a person. Let's say you're at a location, scene A right here. We have somebody walk past the camera and wipe past. A lot of YouTubers, what they do, they notice that they always put their hand in front of the camera to do fade out or a wipe to get to the next scene. Iris in and iris out. A lot of older cartoons used to do this, and I think now Steven Universe does it as well once in a while. Basically what that is when the iris of the lens kind of closes up and goes to a black, or it starts with a black and then opens up to iris out. It's a good way to end or start a cartoon, or even if you're kind of done with the sequence, it's a good way to do it. It was done, I think, in the earlier days just because they didn't know what else to do with it. Now it's kind of a staple as things happen. If you get to where you have your 3 panels with us, and then like say you didn't use the last panel, this is how to mark that you're not using that panel. So basically you just do a big red out and then just say no panel. So that way you can have your 2 scenes here or your sequence there, and then say I'm not using this panel, and then move on to the next sequence. That is a little bit about how we like to mark our camera moves for our storyboards here. So maybe when you're taking a test, this should help you at least be able to see how we like it. Now each studio is different, and just ask to see how they like it. So I hope this helps, and we'll see you next week. And also, please don't forget to subscribe and share. That helps us out a lot. Tell a friend, let us know about our channel, and thank you so much.